I know many people have a hard time with meditation because their mind goes way off course. Or they also will say that meditation isn't Christian. So this is a meditation practice that draws from the Society of Jesus. It's called Ignatian Contemplation. And it uses your imagination to draw you a little closer to God. But it also helps keep your mind from running off course. So let's try it. So this Ignatian Contemplation, just briefly, for those who haven't practiced it, it comes from Saint Ignatius, who kind of believed about daydreaming about God, and he wanted to be a swashbuckler, and he wanted to be a knight, and while he was fighting, he got wounded and wound up in the hospital. And the nurse who was tending to him didn't have any of these swashbuckling tales to read him, so instead she read the Bible to him. And he began to immerse himself into these Bible scenes. And that led him to become devoted to God. And so he started the Society of Jesus. If you're not familiar, that's the Jesuits. And Pope Francis, if you're not Catholic, Pope Francis is a Jesuit. And they tend to be a little bit more scholarly, even though Ignatius really wasn't a scholar. So this is if you have an active imagination, this is going to be kind of in your wheelhouse. And what's most important here is that I'm going to give you guidance about what these scenes might look like, but this is going to be personal to you and your experience. So just keep that in mind. So wherever you are, let's just center ourselves and let's take a nice deep breath through your nose, and you can close your eyes if you'd like, because I'm not much to look at. And just notice the quality of your breath. Notice if it's just a little shallow and see if you can deepen it. That will induce a sense of calm. So maybe place your hands on your belly and take a long, deep breath through the nose and feel the belly expand. And then on the exhale, feel the belly contract as you let all the air out. You can even sigh it out. And notice how your body is. And so if you are uncomfortable, this is a good time for you to be comfortable. Sometimes I will, twist my torso back and forth and give my neck a little bit of to kind of shake out all the jiggies that might be accumulating as a result of your stress from the world. And so now let's invite the Holy Spirit to guide us. And this is a matter of putting aside those preoccupations that will sometimes guide your imagination towards things of the false self. And ask the Holy Spirit to guide you. If you have a certain prayer, you can engage in that. I like to say, "Come, Holy Spirit." And if there is a particular need, a particular favor that you would like God to hear, you can ask God for that favor. So maybe it's a favor of patience or clarity or comfort. What maybe do you need from either this practice or your life? And let's maybe ask God for that as we walk through this Gospel of Mark. And so now let's open our ears and our hearts to hear this Gospel of Mark. The Spirit drove Jesus out into the desert, and he remained in the desert for 40 days, tempted by Satan. He was among wild beasts, and the angels ministered to him. Let those words sink in, and let's see if we can engage our imagination right now. So let's picture this desert. Imagine the vastness of the desert that lacks so much of our belongings that we think we need. We are stripped bare. We're vulnerable. Imagine the golden sand stretching for miles and that heat of the sun baking on your skin. And the clear blue sky overhead. It's time for you to engage your senses. And so what does this place feel like? What is the temperature on your skin? What are the sensations in your body? What strikes you in this scene visually? And you can even hear the crunch of the sand as you take a step forward. But maybe there's some other sounds that you hear. So that, what do you feel? What do you hear? What do you see? Is there a taste or a smell? And so, picture those wild beasts. Do you have fear? But know that those wild beasts, you're protected from these angels. So now let's just picture Jesus off in the distance. You walk towards him. What is he doing? Visualize, is he standing or sitting? What is his expression? And then what do you feel emotionally as you approach him? Then you might choose to kneel beside Jesus, or you can stand with him. So now is the time for you to interact with Jesus in the way that you find most appropriate. Have a conversation if you feel that's necessary. So I'll allow you to spend some time with Jesus in the desert, among the wild beasts and among the angels. So sit and engage. And if you find yourself doing much of the talking with Jesus, maybe pause and hear maybe what he has to say in response. So wherever you are in your conversation, and find a way to let Jesus know that your heart is dedicated to hearing at any time. And he understands, because he knows that sometimes we have to go back to our outer world. So however you find a way to just say adieu. So a way to say, I will see you later. And you are sitting, you can stand and turn around from Jesus' presence and know that you've not turned your back on him. But you also thank him for the gift of this moment. And as you take some steps away from this scene, you notice the sand of the desert becomes a familiar path you might walk. Whether it's your neighborhood or a beautiful park that brings you peace. as you find yourself in this present moment. And then maybe take a breath, and you can wiggle your fingers or toes, or maybe touch the ground, touch the chair you're sitting on, to remind yourself that you are here. And you can keep your eyes closed if that's comfortable for you. And reflect back on that grace that you asked for. If you didn't quite receive it right now, maybe check in with yourself a little later. Maybe that clarity will come a little bit later. And it's always a good idea to take a few moments, and you don't have to do it right now, but maybe as we close, notice any particular stirrings that you felt, whether it's emotionally. Notice any intuitions, any thoughts, maybe something different that you encountered that was unexpected. But also ask yourself, what is the prevailing mood here? What was it peace? Was it scrutiny? And was there a word or a phrase or an image, a sound, or even just a feeling that meant most to you in this silence? Then also ask yourself, was this too short? So is there some unfinished business that you could maybe return to later on, or maybe tomorrow, another day? And then, did some sort of inner calling awaken within you? So, did God ask for you to do something that you might not have considered? And then finally, if you didn't experience anything, ask yourself, perhaps, what are your preoccupations that might be getting in the way of your relationship with the beloved? This could be an addiction, an attachment, Just remember that God is remarkably abundant in ways that don't necessarily reflect the worldly abundance. And so, if you have a particular way for you to close your prayer, whether it's the sign of the cross or bowing your head, you can engage in that. And as we close this formal practice, I thank you for joining me this morning. And you can stick around afterwards. I can answer any questions you may have or review some of the things. Next week, we will be doing Lectio Divina. You'll see a lot of Lectio Divina on my Insight Timer profile. It is my preferred way of engaging in contemplation. In the next few weeks, we will be doing centering prayer, we'll be doing the Jesus prayer, we'll be doing the examen. So there will be several different opportunities for you to find one that really resonates with you. So, and I noticed Corrine, I wanted to give a shout out to Corrine. Thank you for doing your donation. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well in beautiful Chincoteague. She lives just a few hours, not even, like an hour and a half away. She's a good person. And then, thank you, Linda, for joining me, and Janet. If you want to share anything, if you want to share any of your insights, I'm more than happy to community is very, very important, because we are never truly alone in the contemplative community. If you practice enough, you will definitely notice, I will firmly attest to this, you will definitely notice a presence that you carry with you all the time.